ואלה משפטים אשר תשים לפניהם. The Gemara in Gittin learns from over here, אשר תשים לפניהם ולא לפני הדiotot. In other words, when you go to a court, it has to be a court of what's called mumchim, people that were appointed in order to be professional משפטים, and you can't use a beit din of hediotot, for certain dinim. The problem is that the Gemara in Sanhedrin learns out that the need from mumchim is learned from a different pasuk. The fact that the Torah uses the term Elokim, Aleph Lamed Hey Yud Mem, in order to refer to Beis Din, Ad Elokim Yavod Vashnehem, and the fact that it uses the term Elokim, which can be referred to something as divine, so from there the Gemara in Sanhedrin learns that you need mumchim and you shouldn't use hediotot. So Tosos asks, why do you have these two separate independent sources for the need for a beit din of mumchim as opposed to hediotot? Hediotot that weren't appointed didn't receive the appointment. And what Tosos suggests is that in order, the context of the Gemara in Gittin is the ability of a court to coerce an individual to do certain things. In the context of the Gemara in Gittin is to force somebody to give a get. In order to force somebody to give a get, that's learned out from Eila HaMishpatim Asher Tasim Lifnehem velo lifnei hediotot. However, regarding other dinim, that the court has the authority to judge another person, for that we learn it out from Elokim. We don't learn it out from Lifnehem. I think that what Tosas is trying to say is that when we talk about Beis Din, the authority of Beis Din, where's the authority of Beis Din come from? On the one hand, we can say that the authority of Beis Din comes from above. It comes from the fact that the Batei Din are an expression of Torah Hashem. It's not man that's judging his fellow man, but rather it's God through man that's judging his fellow man. And when a dayan is dan din la'amito shel Torah, so he's not shutaf l'Hakadosh Baruch Hu b'maaseh bereshis. And it's really not man judging his man, but it's God judging his man through Beit Din. And that's why the Gemara says that 40 years before the Korban Habayis, Beis Din left Lishkas HaGazis. And then they were no longer able to be done Dinei Nefashos. Because if you don't have a Beis Din that's in the Makom HaShechina, in the Mikdash, then other courts cannot judge Dinei Nefashos. Because in order to judge Dinei Nefashos, the court has to be receiving its authority from above, from God, from the Makom HaShechina. And therefore, according to this idea, the idea of smicha has to be Moshe Kibel Torah Mitzidai Mesar Yoshua Yoshua's Kenim. And there's a source of smicha, as opposed to Yotos, is that there's a chain of smicha that goes back to Moshe Rabbeinu that received the Torah from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that Torah is passed on from generation to generation through the process of smicha, and smicha is only in Eretz Yisrael, Makom HaShechina, in order to maintain that chain that begins at Sinai and continues down to the Batei Din. But there's another source of din, and that's from the Fnehem. What does the Fnehem mean? When it says the Fnehem v'lo lefnei hediotos, Eil Mishpatim Asher Tasim Fnehem is to Batei Din, or the Fnehem is to Am Yisrael? Doesn't the Fnehem mean Am Yisrael? And if it means Am Yisrael, to a certain extent, a court, in order to have authority, has to be representing Am Yisrael. In other words, the authority is a political authority. The Gemara in Daf Hey in Sanhedrin talks about ways of giving smicha. Either the Nasi Beis Din can give smicha, or the Reish Galusa can give smicha. Reish Galusa giving smicha is because he has political authority. He has a din of Nasi, and he gives political authority. Because he is the leader of the people, he can give authority to the judge to judge. That's Elu Shvatim Asher Tasim Lefnehem. The fact that the dayan has a certain amount of political authority, which he gets from the people. However, when we're talking about the religious authority, that comes from the direct chain from Har Sinai. And therefore, when we're talking about the authority of Batei Din, there are actually two different types of authority. There's one authority that comes from Mishpatim Asher Tasim Lefnehem. It's the fact that it's coming from the people. And the leaders of the people, and people appointed by those leaders, have the political authority. However, a judge also has religious authority insofar as he represents Torah Hashem. And for that, the authority has to come from Sinai. Moshe Kibel Torah Sinai, so Yoshua. And in that regard, the Batei Din is referred to as Elokim.